So now, every time someone asks us, are you two sisters?
No.
Yes, man. Welcome to Ask a Matchmaker. I'm your host, Matchmaker Maria. And on this week's hotline episode, I am joined by another matchmaker. And if you're wondering why we look alike, it's because we're related. Matchmaker Chrisoula, welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline.
Hi, thanks.
She is nervous.
I'm sweating. I don't know if you could see my hands, but it's like waterworks here.
It's a condition.
It's called hyperhidrosis. There's a massive subreddit on Reddit called hyperhidrosis, and I look there for a lot of advice and stuff.
Have you learned anything?
Botox can help, but only for 6 months.
And that's it? Never again? That doesn't
No,
help?
you have to keep going.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't. I just suffer.
Come on, I would get the Botox.
Look at me. Anybody who has hyperhidrosis, we do this all day.
How was that when you met your husband?
Oh, he knew because I was like, well, we were friends for a few years. So I was like, I sweat profusely, so sorry. And he doesn't care. What is he going to do?
Well,
Can't do anything about it.
This is your first time in the studio.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's so cool. It's like really surreal seeing you do this. So being part of it, actually having seen it, it's cool.
Do you actually listen to the podcast?
Yeah, I listen to the podcast. Not every episode, but I can't because we talk about this all the time. So if you're not a murder mystery, I'm just not interested.
Yeah, we're gonna get into like what you like when you're not working in a minute. But Chrisoula is my sister. She is also a fourth generation matchmaker. We never really talk about you.
No, it's okay. I'm the back end.
Yeah. And she is a big part of the team. She had a different job before coming to us. You used to work at an immigration law firm.
Yeah, I'm not going to say which one. I mean, I could, but they're Sue friendly, I guess. So a massive immigration law firm. So if you need, fiance visas, that's a K visa.
Anyway, simple transition to a matchmaking office.
Yeah.
And that was, are you celebrating 9 years this year?
I think so, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. You remember when I had my son, my oldest son, Maria was like,
we laugh the same. I'm realizing now that there's
Maria
cameras.
said, don't get lost in motherhood because I stopped working at that that really toxic environment at the law firm. And she's like, don't get lost in motherhood. Here's a few tasks I need to be done when you have the chance. So then like when my son would nap and stuff, I would take out my laptop and do some work. And then that kind of progressed. And then it was like, Chrisoula, come with me to New York. And, our mom would watch my kid or something. And Maria's like, with me to New York, sit in on some of the meetings that I'm having with my clients. And then it was sitting in the meetings while I'm having with the matches. And then it was, okay, now you're doing these on your own. And then it was like, Chrisoula, develop some coaching sessions. And then it was, it developed over time, which I think is great because I know all the other stuff. So if somebody is in the team is missing or something, I can do it. Except the newsletters. I'm not involved in that at all.
Yeah, she's not involved in the newsletters.
But all the other things I do.
Yeah.
Matchmaking, meeting with the clients, meeting with the matches.
Chrisoula is our senior most matchmaker now on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucinda and Louis, obviously Louis is like a senior matchmaker, but I feel like you deal with a lot of our clients on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. And then Maria and I also do our Maria's date coaching program or intensive.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's yours and I'm
No, but like you're
too.
Saying Maria and I'm like, you mean me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maria Avgitidis does the matchmaking the Agape intensive program. And I also am involved. And yeah.
Cool. Well, let me ask you some sister questions. I actually wrote them down so that I wouldn't forget them.
Cool.
If you could switch lives for a day, if we could switch lives for a day, what's the first thing you would do?
If I had to be you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't think I want to be you, Maria. You are, you give me anxiety. Your life gives me anxiety. I'm so glad to be in the back end. But maybe I would scroll through your DMs to see all the questions that people to ask you. I mean, I see some of them, but like actually see them.
I mean, you don't have to be me for a day. I could just give you access one day.
If I were you, what would I do?
I know what I would do if I were you for a day.
What?
Give you a haircut.
Why?
Because you've had the same hair since you were 6 years old.
I've had the same hair since I was 20 years old. The only difference that I've done is switch the part from the left to the right. And that I only did that strategically because there was white hairs coming out that I couldn't
So
cover.
sometimes she'll get like a haircut, but it'll be like 2 inches. But because your hair is so long, you'll be like, do you see anything different about me today?
It's not that long. I mean, hold up. It's right here. That's not long. It's easy. Doing it straight is easy. Having it all one length is easy. I'm on the go. That's why.
All right. When you're not matchmaking and coaching our incredible clients, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
What media? Because, just like me, we don't watch any reality. I don't know if you watch reality TV, but I know we don't watch dating reality TV.
Well, I don't watch any reality. I mean, the only reality TV, no, it's not reality. It's just, I watch a lot of documentaries.
Yeah.
So any documentary about cults, any documentary about murderers and con artists. I am on a con artist high lately. And that's all I listen to.
Any favorite con artists? Is it Theranos?
Oh my God. So listen, I started with the podcast, not the Dropout. Yeah. And then the other podcast, Bad Bets? No,
Bad
not
Blood.
Bad Blood. Bad Bets is a different podcast. Bad Blood. And then it came to an end after like 20 episodes of each podcast. And then I was like a fiend and then I wanted more. So then I kept looking for con artists. There's so many podcasts of con artists.
It's great.
Yeah.
Scamanda. You got me into that last summer.
Oh, one of my favorite ones is Queen of the Con.
Queen of the Con. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I like listening to Scamfluencers, that podcast.
Yeah, I don't want the storyline. I don't want the stories. I just want like what happened. I want people to tell me what happened. Like I don't want I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. And narcissist apocalypse. Give me some, red flags.
Yeah.
Galore.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it.
Yeah, I think that's like as much dating related content that you'll get like from both of us is like, oh, there's an episode about like someone's bad dating behavior. We'll listen to that. But otherwise, I think you and I just don't participate in any dating reality TV. And Lucinda, another matchmaker on our team, she does participate.
Yeah.
Like she watches Love is Blind, Bachelor, Golden Bachelor, all that stuff. And during team meetings, we're like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't listen to, I don't watch it. Look.
Work is a lot.
I need an investigation. I need a climax. And then I need the discovery.
All right. I have another question for you.
Yeah.
What are the movies you think about that we watch too much as kids that explains why we are the way we are?
Okay. So Maria used to watch Terminator 2. No, Total Recall, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Every single day, the day before school started for years. She couldn't sleep the whole night, so she would watch it. And then I was like, can't we watch something else? But you were like obsessed with Total Recall, Terminator 2. My dad watched Independence Day every day.
For 20 years.
For years. It helped
like 2 decades.
It helped him go to sleep. That's basically
Wait, is that
why.
2 decades? No. Like Dad stopped watching Independence Day every single day 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he found a different like movie to sleep on, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then the movie Now and Then.
I
was obsessed with Christina Ricci. I love you. And then Casper.
Yeah.
Another Christina Ricci.
Follows me. Devin Sawa follows me on Instagram. That's what I want on my tombstone.
Devon
For
Sawa
sure.
watch. They go. That was your childhood crush.
Luke Perry and Devon Sawa, for
Luke
sure.
Perry. See, I understand Luke Perry now as an adult. Then I was like, Maria, Luke Perry.
I had mature taste.
Yeah.
I saw a man.
Oh, Ladybugs.
Ladybugs. How do you know Ladybugs? Sidekicks.
Sidekicks. Oh,
How did you know that I was going to say that? Sidekicks.
Sidekicks. And then
So if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, and if you're listening to this, please head on YouTube. I need to know, because I feel like sometimes Chrisoula and I watch certain movies that I feel like nobody ever references. And those are 3 movies. Number 1, Ladybugs. Number 2, Sidekick.
it's the same
And
actor.
because it's the same actor that we were obsessed with. Rest in peace. And number 3,
Yeah.
shut up, Colt. What is it? 3 Ninjas.
3 Ninjas.
If you watch these movies, I need you to head onto the YouTube comments and just like give us some validation. Now, I'll tell you what other movie. What is the most watched? Go ahead. You're gonna say it. I know it.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's
Twister.
Macaulay Culkin. No, not Twister.
Oh, Macaulay Culkin, The Good Son.
No, not that one. The one where he dies because with the
Oh,
bees.
My Girl.
My Girl.
We watched My Girl a lot too.
Yeah. His eyes.
The other day, as I was watching Super Bowl commercials, there was a commercial for Twister, and it's called Twisters.
Oh, it's another movie?
Yeah, they're coming out with the remake of Twister, I guess. It's
Why
called
would
Twisters.
you remake such a good movie?
That is the most brilliant movie. And in fact, if anyone were to ever ask me, fun fact about me, like, what is the movie? I know you've just said that I watched Total Recall a lot as a kid, which I think explains a lot about me. But the movie that I've watched the most than any other movie that I could probably recite from beginning to end is Twister. I've watched it at least 75. Like, I melted the VHS.
I mean, I know the Oklahoma song because of the because of the movie.
Like, there was a whole period of time where I was like, I want to become a meteorologist. Not to chase twisters, but to like be on the phone with the people chasing twisters.
Oh, you don't want to be in a barn and then like strap yourself up as the twister's coming and then fall in love with your ex all over again?
So
that's not your ideal.
Now, as an adult watching Twister, because I've recently rewatched it because I needed to, rewatch it. I saw that commercial of Twisters and I was like, give me Bill. Rest in peace.
What's his name is rest in peace too. Oh, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Anyway, so that movie is pretty toxic. This poor woman joins her fiance in going to a field to meet his ex-wife to get the divorce papers signed. And somehow the direction of the movie gaslights us into thinking that she's the villain. When really she's just like, I'm just here to get some divorce papers signed so we can get married.
There's another movie like that.
Where you're like, the villain is not the real villain.
Yeah, I think some Pauly Shore movies. Oh my God! Hello, Encino Man.
Yeah.
That was a movie we were obsessed with. Encino Man.
Yeah.
Oh, and
But why do you think these movies make us like the way we are?
I don't know. It's quintessential 90s.
Yeah.
It is the 90s movies.
But there was a movie in the 90s that came out that they said something in the movie and that became me and Chrisoula's slogan.
Wait, was that in the 90s or was that the early 2000s?
Maybe early 2000s.
Oh, wait. No, it was in the 90s.
The Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, the Night at the Roxbury.
So now every time someone asks us, are you two sisters?
No.
Yes, man. She always complains too. She always complains about how I high five her. Well, anyway, now that we've established that we're sisters, let's talk about all the things that we do as sisters right now. We mentioned that we do the matchmaking. We also run Agape Intensive, which is our coaching program. We have a New York City intensive happening this week. That's why you have flown in. Chrisoula lives in Greece. In the map of Greece, this is my map of Greece. This is the Peloponnese. This is Athens. This is Thessaloniki. She lives right here in Volos, 4 hours north.
Volos City, represent.
Yes. And she's flown in to host intensive in real life.
Yes.
What are you most excited about this week?
I'm most excited because we have our first man ever in this intensive.
I know.
And it's in person and he's a cutie. And
we're so excited.
And I'm really excited because there are men that are interested in the program. And Maria and I never knew if there was an interest from men. But once this went live, he was like the second person to sign up.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. And so the women are really, really excited to have a man be part of the.
But not just those women, all of the women from our community are like, oh, a man is joining you? Like,
yeah,
like this could be the start of something wonderful, because what if we taught men who want to be vulnerable, like how to have different dating experiences?
But also how to have difficult conversations. I mean, we talk a lot about that, like becoming more comfortable having the difficult conversations, becoming comfortable stating exactly what it is that you want.
Right.
So that we don't kind of end up in these situationships after 6 months, 7 months, what is this and all that. And so I'm really excited for that. I'm stressed, but I'm excited.
Why are you stressed?
I'm always stressed after an in-person, the coming days of an in-person one. I always just like, is everybody going to have a good time?
Oh, I know everyone's going to have a good time.
I just want people to have a good
times.
time.
Yeah. No, I'm sure we're going to have a good time. Although I've been checking the weather because we have a boat trip planned, and I was like, it's going to rain. But you know what?
I feel like it rained when you had your bridal shower
and it was
on
fine.
there, and it was fine.
Yeah. So shout out to the Bateau. We're doing it there. I had my bridal shower there. It was incredible. It's like a glass boat on the Hudson. It's really nice. But we like to take our people to nice places, so it's great.
Yeah.
Okay. One last thing I want to talk about before we get to Hotline. This a few days ago, I went to YentaCon.
That's right. How was that? What did you learn there?
I learned a lot of Jewish things. Well, that's why it's called YentaCon. So YentaCon is it's a first of its kind. It's a matchmaking conference that is about Jewish matchmaking. Mm-hmm. It was actually organized by Michal, who was a guest on this podcast a couple of months ago, and what was interesting is that they invited a few non-Jewish people as allies, because we do help a lot of Jewish matchmakers across the country,
We have Jewish clients.
We have Jewish clients, but also we have some matchmakers that are Orthodox or conservative, and they'll come to us asking like, hey, do you have any Jewish women that, maybe they didn't join our database, maybe they join your database, and, we'll share in our, like, hey, we might have a match for your client. A lot of collaborative matchmakers work this way. Mm-hmm. So I've felt very honored to attend as a person who supports Jewish matchmaking. Mm-hmm. I got to see some of the people that, we know and love, Bonnie and Lori, Ella, Jada, Trenia, Megan, Arlene. So we had like a good crowd of matchmakers. But then I also got to meet Aliza Ben Shalom, the star of Jewish matchmaking on Netflix. But she's actually a matchmaker and coach. And it was interesting to she gave a really good speech about kind of reminding us how to talk to our clients.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think when you are in the thick of things, you can forget really simple things that you're creating an emotional connection. It's nice to kind of be reminded that we're here to connect, not just find you a match, but also we have to be a match.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's, and I think over the last couple of years, it's just we do, we have our clients, but then we do checkups on our clients, and we have quick chats, and then we get to know them a little bit more, and we just kind of reassure them, and we kind of just getting a feel for them a little bit more. And I think they really do appreciate that. P.S., this is all the stuff that we've done for you. Here's a visual of that. And I think by viewing the visual, they get a better idea of all the back end stuff that goes into each match.
let me be a little bit more specific, because you're giving this without context. So when we have a relationship with our clients.
Yeah.
And parentheses, Yanni over the weekend, my son, he told me what he was pretending to play matchmaker. He was pretending he had the Agape Match office with my daughter, with his sister.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what are you looking for? And he was asking her questions, and I mean, I don't know what she was saying. She was probably saying something about Elsa. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go on the dates for you, and I'll circle back. And then I was like, Yanni, what do you think I do? And he goes, you meet men on dates, you date the men, and then you tell women if they're going to be good. And I was like, is this what you're telling your teacher? Because I was ready to correct the record. I was like, Yanni, no, I meet them, and then I get to know them, and then I match. I was trying to explain what I do, but he was just like, my version is better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep it.
Yeah. okay, we
and
date
then
them.
everyone will think
Sometimes
that
it feels like we are.
I go on a lot of dates.
Yeah,
But
go
no,
through
to
an
go back to
emotional
what
journey with them.
Yeah, but to go, we were saying, you know, we do go these emotional journeys with our clients, all of us, because we take all of our clients as a team. And in that process, you know, there is going to be a point where like, hey, I need to show you who we've been meeting and why you didn't go on dates with certain people. Because I think, you know, as matchmakers, not just us, all professional matchmakers, we're catering a little bit to the client.
Yeah.
And some matchmakers 100% cater to the client. And we know who those matchmakers are.
Yeah.
But then there's other matchmakers who are like, well, hold on, it has to be a cross match. Like, I'm going to think about what you've said and what I think as a professional is going to work. But also I need to consider what your match is looking for and see if you are both a match. And so what Chrisoula said before about a visual, you know, we will have a Zoom sometimes after we've met, you know, maybe 20 or 30 matches, and to tell them like, you know, maybe you only went on 3 or 4 dates so far, but here's why you didn't go on any of these dates. And, you know, we met each person for at least an hour, and we'll say this was not a personality match. This was not a lifestyle match. She's not interested. Like, you know, there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, the vibes are off.
The vibes are off. She moved.
Yeah, or totally happens. Or I met her, I was excited. Now she's got MIA, which is fine. She's a single person.
Yeah,
with
she's
a
allowed
single
to have
life.
a single life.
And you know, what we could tell our clients is like, don't take it personally. It's not this is not about you specifically.
Yeah.
This person kind of going MIA or whatever.
And I think our clients love that. I think our clients love seeing the visual of like, you know, you're not just going on a date with us every couple of weeks. There's a lot of work being done in the back end. You're not swiping anymore. You're going on great dates. Even if there's no second date, you had you know, by and large, most of our clients have great experiences.
Yeah.
Most of our matches have great experiences.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy. And then if someone doesn't have a great experience, I want to know and I want to see what I can do to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I think our clients also appreciate that sort of feedback, because if sometimes you have an off day, or sometimes you become a little bit familiar with this person and they're not there yet, so you have to just bring it back and say, look, you can't talk about this stuff on the date. You know,
that recently happened with one of our clients where he went on a couple of dates that, you know, had really poor feedback, and I had to have a pretty tough Zoom call conversation with him. And I said, hey, you know, on dates, you're bringing this up and this up and this up. You cannot talk about these. Like, you know, he was bringing up politics on a first date, and not politics like who's on the election ballot, like politics as in, you know, pretty deep ideology.
Like theoretical perspectives. And look, I appreciate that.
And I remember saying to him, I go, I appreciate that. I have a master's in global affairs. Chrisoula has a master's in war studies. Like, we're with you, but that's still not appropriate first date conversation.
No. Don't talk about that. And if it brings it up, just blame us. Just say, hey,
Maria
said, don't talk about politics. What about this? And then just switch the subject.
So
people are going to laugh.
He went on his next date.
It's like glowing feedback.
Oh my God.
And sometimes that's all it takes. I
can't wait to see him again. They already went on a second date. They're going on a third date in Paris.
Yeah, it just so happens it's not like a Rachel, it's not like a Monica with that guy in Friends where he takes her to Italy, not like that. It just so happens, I think, that their schedules are such that they're going to be both in Europe, and so they're meeting there, which is amazing. I think that's really cool.
I think that is so cool. And I think you and we don't get to celebrate our wins ever physically together.
Yeah,
receiving that email this morning, I was just like,
yes, I was like, amazing. And I think that's all it takes. Sometimes one of our clients, he kept really, really good looking guy, like from 2 years ago. He wasn't going on second dates. And I'm like, the feedback that I'm getting is that you're a great guy. You're just not asking her questions. And it was probably because he was nervous. And so after that, once I said that to him, after that, it was like really positive. And then we go second, third dates. And sometimes you just need that push. You just need to tell your client just that feedback so that they can be a little bit more self-aware.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they appreciate that too, you know?
So to go back to YentaCon.
Yeah, sorry.
So now that we've made the context of what matchmaking is, at YentaCon I learned a few things, and it was all revolving around like Jewish matchmaking and also like the religion. I learned something that it kind of like blew my mind, and now I want to research why that didn't come into Christianity. So apparently a major like tenet of their religion and like dating and mating, whatever, you know, what do you want to call it, matchmaking, is that men are required to satisfy their women, like as per part of their religion. Like she has to enjoy the experience before he does. And that is part of their religion. And also to do it on Fridays. It's like...
Sexually?
Yeah.
So they have sex every single Friday.
I mean, I heard from one Jewish woman there that because she has to do Shabbos dinner. She's like, I don't have time to do it on Friday. So I do it on Thursdays. And I was like, okay, scheduled sex. You know, I'm cool. I'm game with that. But I was like, wow, it's in the religious text. Like you need to satisfy your wife.
I don't know, man. Sometimes they think they're satisfying, but they're not really.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe they think I'm satisfying her.
Well, no, the other thing I heard from there is that in some, depending on the rabbi, they will teach, the men before marriage, here's how you're going to satisfy your wife. Like they get courses on this. And the same with women. Women
Sex
are
ed.
taught, they get a sex ed, whatever the culture is, their subcultures. Each subculture tackles this differently, but they're being taught this. And I just found this fascinating because I was like, at what point, like, I think it's really cool that a religion will say, listen, dude, you want to procreate, but you need to satisfy your wife. And I was like, cool, that was in Jewish. How come, where in Christianity, why did that get dropped?
And that's why I'm atheist.
Anyway, so I learned that. And then what else did I learn? I learned a lot of Yiddish words.
Do you remember one?
And Hebrew words. No. I definitely needed a vocabulary sheet when I was there, for sure. And I learned that it's really important for some people in that community that Jewish people marry other Jewish people. And then for other parts in that same exact community, they don't care.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really fascinating too. I was like, okay, so it just kind of depends on like which matchmaker you're talking to, and then also which part of the religion they are participating in. Because if they're conservative, that means something else. If they're reform, that means something else. If they're orthodox, that means something else. And all these three things, it really does dictate and influence who you will date and who you will marry.
I mean, I feel like that might, maybe it's more in their community, but I feel like that's a lot of, like there's so many Greek people that are more religious and they want to date other Greek people in America, let's say. Don't you think?
It's not the same because, for instance, one of the matchmakers, if you are a man and you marry a Jewish man and you marry a non-Jewish woman, your children are not Jewish.
Oh, that's right. They have that.
So
thing.
it was just like, whereas for us, it's like, oh, Greek last name, you're Greek, and
yeah,
I mean, Yannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, he's Greek.
I mean, it's all Greek people after a movie is over. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just sit here and watch the names.
I would love to know if there are any other subcultures that do this. If you are in the subculture that does this, please write in the comments. I would love to know. I always wonder this because every time a movie ends, my husband and I learned this with my parents too, we stay after for the whole credits to see what names.
Oh, that second.
And then when My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out, I was like, maybe we're related to someone. That was a Greek movie.
Yeah. Oh, look, that guy who was,
there's your last name.
He was the second person for the effects. He's Greek.
Oh, yeah. George Drakulias. I feel like I see him in every movie. He's like, I think he does like music composure or something like that. Cool. Anyway. How do you feel about taking hotline questions?
I'm excited for hotline questions.
I'm happy you're saying excited because yesterday I asked you how you feel and you were like really nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to throw up yesterday, but now it's kind of just vomit.
Yeah, so. Don't vomit. Let's get our first hotline question. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker hotline. How can we help you?
Hi, I'm Jeanette. Thanks so much for having me. So my question was related to my new-ish relationship. About 6 to 7, I guess we're about 7 months now. It's going really, really well. Definitely feels like the healthiest relationship that I've ever been in. He's super kind, caring, intelligent, hardworking, super sweet. He's 35, I'm 32. We did 12 date rule. Like, everything has been great. He has brought up, well, we've talked about marriage and future, and it's all like going in the right direction. He has brought up ring conversation a few times.
Engagement ring?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's great.
yeah, I mean, it's been kind of at random times where we didn't really have the chance to really finish the conversation that much, but I mean, not in a hurry to really deal with all that yet, but it's been encouraging that he's brought it up. The first time was like randomly, we were making breakfast and he kind of brought up the whole like, so like, how do you feel about the like X number of months salary for a ring ordeal? And I kind of just laughed because I mean, and I told him I don't really feel that it's like a certain amount or anything like that by any means. And he is in a self-proclaimed minimal income and minimal spending time of his life, which I'm still a little bit determining.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
What is that?
Exactly. I'm not sure if
define
that's
what
a
that
pink
means?
flag.
What does that mean?
Well, he's like a self-proclaimed minimalist, like, or at least that's what he's saying. So right now he is working very, very minimally because he is actually building a tiny home that he wants to rent out, like either as an Airbnb or long-term. So he's putting like most of his time and energy into that, which he really truly is doing.
Okay.
Which the first time I heard him say that, I was a little bit like, is this real or not? You know? But no, he's really doing it. I am impressed. He's very dedicated to this, but eventually it will be done, and probably in the next 3 or 4 months. So once that's done, he should be kind of back to working, hopefully more quote unquote normal, maybe hours. That's what I'm kind of not sure. That's like my only pink flag is so far in our time together, he has not really like worked a normal schedule or like a normal job. He has rental income from 2 roommates that are living in the house that he owns along with himself. So these are all good things, but I'm a little nervous because it's a little unorthodox, and I want to know that he truly can like be financially stable. And I guess I'm not really sure of that yet because we only have known each other 6-7 months.
How did he acquire the home that he owns?
Well, he does have a mortgage on it, but the rent pays the mortgage. He bought it at a good time when rates were really low, so that's good. He is very minimal. Like, he does not spend a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of other expenses. But to me, like, financial stability is not just not overspending. It's also, working enough, making more than you're spending and being able to save and potentially invest and all that. So I'm still waiting to see, okay, like, is he able to save? It seems like it, but I'm still not really sure. So I'm just concerned about like our future together, if we're both going to be bringing in at least kind of an equal income.
You want to make an equal income is what I'm hearing.
I guess at least. I've honestly never been in this situation. But like in this, it feels
What's the
almost
situation? Because I feel like I'm a little confused.
Oh, sorry. Well, I feel like I don't know the numbers exactly, but I feel like he probably makes less than I do currently, which is fine.
But he owns a home. Do you own a home?
I actually do also own a home.
Okay.
Like, I think his take home is maybe half of what I take home, and I don't even have a high income currently. I'm kind of junior in my second career. So I'm just a little concerned that maybe we don't have the same financial goals. And we've talked about it, and it seems like we're on the same page. But again, I'm going to just need to like see the actions eventually once this tiny home is done.
Okay.
Part of me is thinking, part of me is thinking like if you're going towards marriage and you're going towards this real like big commitment, this step of big commitment, being able to have that difficult conversation of how much are we making together needs to really be had. Like, I'm sure, Jeanette, that maybe you are trying to have that conversation, but I feel like you need to get the answers before you can, if it seems like this is something that is kind of weighing on you and it's become the elephant in the room, and that you're just kind of like, eventually I'll find out, but it's, why do we have to wait until eventually? Why can't we just kind of say, look, I know this is a difficult conversation. It's difficult for me to have.
It's difficult for everybody.
It's difficult for everybody. And you can acknowledge this is a difficult conversation to have. Like, it's really hard for me to even form these sentences.
You don't live together.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
As of right now, we don't. We spend a lot of time together when I'm home from work because I travel for work. And what has also made me realize this, and the concern that I have is, for example, if we were both like renting, like let's say he was going to move into my apartment, right now he could not afford to pay for half of that because his income is only enough right now to support him working on this building. Like, he doesn't have a lot of expenses, so he doesn't need very much right now, but he's not paying rent because his roommates are basically paying his mortgage.
But that's an income.
Yeah, but he has
like, even if he moved out, wouldn't he rent out his room?
Yes, yes, and we've talked about that, and he's giving his roommates a great deal, and that's very kind of him. But I think eventually he'll need to maybe have a little bit more of a profit from the income than he currently has. He doesn't want to take advantage of people, which is great. I don't want him to either, but he's kind of just breaking even, it seems. So
that's not a bad thing. He's breaking even, so he doesn't have debt, is what I'm hearing.
Well, he just graduated a doctorate program for physical therapy a number of months ago, and he's not really working as a physical therapist.
You know what I'm hearing?
Which is part of my concern.
I'm hearing,
because he has debt from that.
I hear what you're saying, and what I'm understanding is that you have very different expectations of where his life would be based on the information that you've been provided, right? Which is, I just graduated from a doctorate program in physical therapy. I'm doing a tiny home, and I collect rent from my roommates who sustain the life that he has. But the life that he has right now is of a man who does not have a wife and does not have kids. Do you want to have kids?
Yes.
So I think then there has to be a difficult conversation, and all conversations with every couple are, what I'm about to say is difficult, right? For some people it's less difficult, for other people it's more difficult, but it's all relative because difficult is difficult. It's absolute, right? And that difficult conversation is talking about what is the budget if we were to share our lives together. Does it you mentioned that if he moved in with you, he can't afford half of the rent, but you're already paying the rent, right? So I guess in my mind, I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's essentially, I'm in the process of moving into the house that I purchased, but I have a roommate right now in my apartment that's helping me subsidize part of that.
Right. And so what I'm saying is that there is a scenario here where, let's say it worked out. You might combine your incomes. A lot of couples do. And now you have to decide on a life of, this is what we want as a lifestyle, right? Now, it sounds like you're kind of suspicious or hesitant about his minimalist lifestyle. I can hear it based on how you're talking about
I'm just nervous.
And I understand that. That is nervous. And you know why? Because you just told us you want to have kids. And kids are literally it's literally the opposite of a minimalist lifestyle. Go into any person's house that has children, you're maximalist, right? Every fucking Lego, every little toy, every little, fake strawberry that they gnaw on when their teeth are coming out, it's all around you. You've got clutter. And so you're trying to come to terms with the life that you might want to have in 2 years with the life that he's currently living with now. So what I'm trying to say to you is, he's already talking to you about rings, which means that he is serious. So why
Yeah.
not sit and say, look, let's play a game. And that game is, what does our life look like 3 years from now? What does it cost? What does it look like? And then what does it cost? And you're going to do an Excel and he's going to do an Excel. And you're going to figure out if you're both on, not just on the same page, you're going to look at your expectations. He might learn from you that you want to, first of all, have children. I don't know what kind of conversations you've already had, right? He might learn that you might need a 3-bedroom house. He might learn that maybe you'll both be renting out your properties and then those rents are going to pay for the mortgage of another house, or maybe you'll rent another house. Maybe you'll rent your next house. Who knows? So you can have that. You can start having those conversations there.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't leave the conversation until you have actual answers, because it seems like you've already tried to have them, but it's leaving you even more confused. So what I would say is acknowledge, like, and say, look, I see a future with you. It seems like you see a future with me. However, I would like to get down to, I want to understand what our financial future looks like. And these are the questions, write the questions that you have down so you don't forget them.
Yeah.
And then go by them. Maybe your guys are going out for a walk. Maybe this is a conversation that's not face-to-face, because having conversations about money face-to-face can be really like difficult. So I would say go for a walk and have these talk about them and be like, I don't want to feel confused anymore about this topic. I want to know where we stand. It's really cool, I think, that he has this hobby of fixing
That's so cool.
mini, what's it called? Not a mini
Tiny
house.
house.
A tiny house.
Tiny.
A tiny house.
He was a mechanical engineer before becoming
Wow,
a
well, you
physical
guys are
therapist.
just onions. You just have all these pieces to you, the second and third
Yeah.
careers.
I think you just telling us a little bit about him, by the way, and like the things that you appreciate about him. You know, compatibility is not just, does he make as much money as I do?
Oh,
Right? It's the
totally. Yeah.
totality of someone. So maybe he doesn't bring as much income to you, but maybe he's also you have to tell us if he is, but maybe he's overcompensating or supplementing it with more emotional support, intellectual curiosity. Maybe you share in the same way I would hope that your moral compasses are identical. So, if you look at the totality of the person, then what totality of life do you have? And what that means is also, like, if you were to combine your incomes, should you decide to do that, what does that life look like? And having
Right.
these difficult conversations makes it easier to have other difficult conversations that come along with life, right?
Yeah.
Other
and I
things.
haven't
Go ahead.
I haven't judged, because it's been pretty obvious, like even from the very beginning, we really didn't go on very many like dates at all, to be honest. I've paid for many dates, which is fine with me. But he really is in this like extreme frugal phase right now. And I am hoping it lets up a little bit, and I think it will. Because right now he's just, he's very good at managing himself, and I do appreciate that. I'm glad he's not like overspending. It just makes me a little bit nervous. And then when he brings up the ring thing,
Is he cheap or is he frugal? Like when he buys stuff, does he look at the value of something and like splurges there? Or is he like, he goes to store, just looks for the cheapest thing?
Sometimes, but he really, it's been hard. He really tries right now to find the cheapest thing. When it's for him, he tries to find the cheapest thing. And I'm trying to like accept that, because I'm kind of the opposite of that. Like, I'm not frivolous, but I would rather buy something quality and have it last, right? So, we're kind of doing that dance. But he
it
brought up
sounds
the
like
ring
he's
thing, and then
it sounds like he's
said
sticking to a budget, though. Like, there's other people
which is
that
great.
will just pile up the credit card debt.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I also want to like not worry about literally every dollar, right? Like,
yeah.
You have to have a conversation with him.
yeah.
Yeah. And Jeanette, I would say, listen, this is hard for me too. Say it, acknowledge it, because it is. Say that. Like, this is hard for me to have too, because I do see a future with you and I want to know where it's going. This is how I spend money. I obviously have a budget, but I like quality things. Are you that way too? Or is it now you're buying the cheapest thing because you don't have it? How is it when you did have money? Were you buying quality items? It kind of gives you an insight to that. Because I'm thinking about our parents' generation, and our parents' generation was just I'm speaking for my sister and me and other Greek Americans that we know. They would buy just the cheapest thing, like the worst mattress, because it was cheap, and they would sit there and suffer for years. But they wouldn't buy. And I'm like, Maria and I are so not like that. But the mindset was save. I don't know. I can't tell if that's how he is.
Different
he
mindsets.
Was,
but look, I think it's like so cool that. Look, it's cool to do minimalist lifestyle when you don't have kids.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You need to bring him to somebody's house that has kids so he could see what that looks like. Like three-year-olds. That's where all the crap comes, when they're 3.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years old. Yeah.
My living room is like.
My house looks like a bomb. And you know what it is? Is that I don't even clean it anymore. I was like, what's the point? In 5 minutes, it's going to be, it is.
Yesterday before you came, I cleaned the living room like 3 times. And I was just like, when we came home, I was actually surprised. I was like, wow, it's still clean. And George is like, yeah, because their bedroom sucks. And I'm like, okay.
There you go. Well, I let us know, Jenna. Give us an update, because it seems like the first step, and look, steps don't have to be profound. It could be a series of conversations that you have that gives you all the clarity that you need. You know?
When he talks about, because he's brought up like the ring, and I mean that's like in the future, but he asks me, it's like he's trying to find out like what I like, which is really sweet.
Why don't you just tell him what you want?
But he interjects, like literally he has said, like that he thinks, for example, like $1,000 is like a lot. And I mean, it's not that it's not, it's just, to me, I don't even think about it as like a number. Like, to me, I'm not looking for an X number dollar ring. Like, I'd like us to pick it together. And anyway, it's just I've never had somebody refer to it as like literally the dollar amount. That part feels a little strange for me. I don't know how to like,
there's a way to interject
answer
here.
that.
And one way, like if he's talking to you in numbers, that might be also just an engineering brain, I suppose. And they're trying to like gauge, but you can also just say like, I haven't done my own research, but it seems like you can get something really good at $2,500. Like if we're talking about like frugality and all that stuff. And it's true, you can get something really good at $2,500.
He thinks $1,000 is a lot.
It's not. And you can say that. You can just disagree. $1,000 is actually not a lot when you think about 14 karat gold, placements, and then of course appraisal. Like there's a lot of things happening in that. Now, do I believe that a man needs to spend 2 or 3 months' wages? No, this is a marketing gimmick by the diamond industry to get people to pay a lot of money for stones. Now, what he could do is up his budget.
And
but
right now his income is really low, so that's why.
Well, that's his problem. That's not your problem.
Exactly.
He could also wait for the rent. Like, why is he? Like in my head, I'm just thinking. You know what? I'm concerned with Jeanette. I'm concerned you're going to get disappointed. I'm concerned you're going to be disappointed in the end, knowing.
I think he's trying to gauge if I'll be okay with a ring like that versus if he actually saves for a while.
You could just be like, I'm not okay. Like,
I don't know how to say that without hurting his feelings.
But you're not hurt. That's not your problem. You're not hurting his feelings by telling him your expectations of what you expect in a jewelry that you're going to be wearing for likely the rest of your life. Right? Yeah. If it works out. So, you have to like this. You're the one wearing it. And that's how you have to say it. Just be like, look, you can also, by the way, have no shame. Literally go on to a website and just pick out the rings that you like. And you could just say like, look, this is what I like. This is the style. When you go to search, I'm sure you can go to several jewelry stores and pick the one that you can afford. But this is the style that I like. After all, I'm the one wearing it. And this is the symbol of your love to me. Like, remind them what this is. It's not, we're not shopping for a new garden hose here.
Special gift that I'll ever receive. in my life.
Yeah, and so Jeanette,
that's how I feel
I
about
need
it.
you to believe that, because I know you're saying I don't care, but I know you do. So, and
Oh no,
it's,
I do.
yeah,
I do care. I just don't want to hurt him because he has, right. It's like if he was a full-time PT, he wouldn't even be talking about a
You
thousand
don't
dollar
know
ring. You know
that.
what I mean?
But
Like,
see, you don't know that.
well, yeah, that's true. That's a good
There
point.
are,
You're
I've
totally
met
right.
plenty of, listen, we just had this at work a few days ago. Somebody called in and was, said to me, wow, that's a really hefty price for what you're doing. And in my mind, I'm like, you're making like $16 million a year. What do you mean?
yeah.
I'm perfectly priced for what you make.
I think I just, to reiterate, I think the first steps is go online, pick out a ring that you like, get an idea. But,
Oh yeah, I know what I like.
yeah, so you know what you
Of course.
like. This is what I like.
You can also do lab grown stones too, by
Yeah.
the
Oh,
way.
I'm happy. I actually would prefer lab
And there you
grown.
go. Look, and there you go. There's
Yeah.
you compromising, right? Look, with lab grown, you can get this. Just be honest, because you know what? Like, this is the thing. You have to wear this for the rest of your life. Like, you have to like it. Like, I love looking down. I'm a sapphire bride. I told my husband I wanted a sapphire, and he knew that. And I think in terms of like my style, I'm a little bit more traditional. And I love that what he picked. It's perfectly, like, I look at it and I always think to myself, even after all these years, it's been 9 years. I always think about like, wow, he did such a great job picking a ring that's like perfectly suited for my personality and like the life that I want. Like, I feel very proud in wearing it. And that's how you have to look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Baby steps. Think about what it is how you envision your future. Think about the types of conversations that you need to have to get the clarity that you need. Because it sounds like you're really confused about it's like there's missing pieces to the overall picture. And so, get them.
Yeah.
And if you don't get them,
We've
ask
had
again.
some of those
Yeah.
conversations. I definitely have danced around it a little bit because it's so sensitive and I don't want to hurt his feelings and I don't want to make him feel pressured.
You're not. Listen. In a sustainable relationship, you have to have the conversations. And sometimes people are going to get defensive. Sometimes they're going to get, maybe they'll pull back or whatever. But you can't move forward without having these. What happens when you have a kid? And then you have to have the difficult conversations about the kid. We can't skirt around those conversations either. So it's
so this is practice.
It's just practice for what comes in the future, because life is not happy all the time. Life is difficult sometimes, and we have to be able to acknowledge what's going on and find a solution. And so that's what I would say here. Figure out the questions that you need to gain clarity about your whole financial situation and his. And see what you could do, what that looks like in 5 years. Do you even have the same goals in the next year? Talk about your concerns. I would not be concerned about him being upset. Like, he also has to acknowledge what the next 2-3 years looks like. He also has to understand that now he has somebody in his life who cares about what your future looks like together. So that's what I would
also
say.
Add to that, like, if not you, who? Like, even if you broke up, name me one other woman who's not going to have the exact same conversation with him 18 months from now, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's, then you can say that, right? Like, you can, you could say that you should think that in going into this, like, come equipped and feeling empowered, because I don't think you're saying something that he's not going to, I think a lot of people are going to hear this in their lifetimes, right? You meet someone, you date someone, you have to have difficult conversations. I will tell you that right now there's this like trend going around TikTok where a woman asks, like, why do people say marriage is hard? And a lot of people that I guess are in happy relationships are saying like marriage isn't hard, but life can be hard. And, and then thinking about that, like, I think both you and I, we subscribe to the idea that like marriage isn't hard as long as you have a good teammate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think my marriage is hard at all. I think I have a really good teammate. I chose a good teammate, but I also am not scared of having incredibly difficult conversations
I think it's also self-awareness and your reactions and knowing like I'm not like, hey, I'm having a bad day and
Yeah.
I'm
And just
having a
saying it
bad
too.
moment and saying it and saying, you know, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Uh, the person for you is not going to be like, you know, they're gonna be like, okay, I'm here for you.
Right.
I'm gonna give you that space that you need.
Like
to
if they're
kinda get
taking it
through
personally when you're having a bad moment,
that has nothing to do with
that has
them.
nothing to do
You
with
know,
you.
That's
Yeah,
that's a
like-
whole different conversation.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
I think this is good practice. I think you've actually hit the 7-month mark. This is the perfect time to have those difficult conversations.
Totally.
Like this is when you
Yeah.
do it. I remember with my husband, it was at 6 months. At 6 months, we sat down and we had every difficult conversation. We talked about our parents. We talked about children. We talked about, you know, he was living in Boston, working at a university. I was in New York. Like, who's moving?
Yeah.
Who you know, and that's when we decided,
Yeah.
okay, George is moving. George is going to move one day. You know, it would take, you know, 5 more years, but you know, we knew that there was going to be some sacrifices here, and like that this is, at the end of the day, it was about the team, right? So I
Yeah.
think right now what you're experiencing is that you need to transition from you and him to us. And to do that, you have to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And you have to
agreed.
set your expectations of the other person. Also, he has to tell you what he expects from you too.
Yeah, totally.
And we've been ramping up, and the last time we had a good, serious conversation about somewhat related to this, he even said like he is realizing that he needs to be thinking more in terms of that he is not like a single person anymore, and that it's us. And so I think that that's good.
Wow, it sounds like you've met someone who's pretty self-aware, and I'm really happy for
Yeah.
you. And now you just have to
Thank you.
you can't skip this. You have to have the difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
let us know how it
Well,
goes.
thank you, ladies, so much.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, fellow Greek, I'm half Greek. My mom is from Athens. I have a sister in Kifisia.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I only know the bad words because when I was little, my mom would yell them at me, so I don't know a lot.
Those are the best ones anyway.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα
Yeah.
πολύ.
Yeah.
Τίποτα,
Και εμείς
παρακαλώ.
ευχαριστούμε.
Thank you. Yes, us.
That's so cute.
Cool.
Do you, at what point did you have financial conversations with your spouse? I mean, you guys were friends for like a really long time too.
We were friends for 3 years, and then one day I saw him kissing somebody else. This is how we started. And I was like, hold up. Why are you doing that? I was like, why are you kissing her? And I didn't like him. We weren't together. We had never kissed or anything. I felt it meant like so jealous, like it wasn't me, and that he had like didn't want to be my friend anymore. And so then one day I was like, I don't know. I was like, do you hate me? No, Yanni liked me the whole time though. But I was dumb. I was blind. I wasn't ready. And then I was ready.
And then you started dating.
And then we started dating, and I think me and Yanni, we started dating when we were 22. So we kind of grew up together, and
Yeah.
we were always having these conversations, and we had to have these conversations.
Yeah.
And
you and Yanni have seen yourselves in transitions too. You know, like
oh yeah,
when you went to grad school, when he started a business, when you started working at Agape Match, you know, when he transitioned to a tech job, like you've seen each other.
yeah,
go through
we've
all
been
that
through
stuff.
a lot of transitions together. Sorry here. We've
You
been through
moved
a
to
lot
a different
of,
country.
Yeah, we've been through a lot of transitions together, and so you know, hearing that the guy, her boyfriend, is working on this little side project that could mean something in the future, I think is really, really cool. Because you know, when my husband was starting his own business, like yeah, there wasn't a lot of money coming in on his end, but eventually there was.
I
you know?
remember when you took off of work before you came to Agape Match.
Yeah.
You know, eventually, you know, so you know, he was supporting you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember you saying to me, you know, now you worked at Agape Match for like, I want to say 5 years. And Yanni was like, I'm going to start a business. And you said to me, well, he supported me, so now I'm going to support him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, of course, you know, because
Yeah.
you're a team. And I think it's not like, oh, it wasn't like, oh, how much money are you making? It's like, well, this
No,
is how much the
it's-
family makes.
Yeah, it's never been about it has never been like that ever. Like I owe you, you owe me, like who's paying this? It was just like it was us from the get-go.
Right.
Always. And so you know, me and Yanni don't argue. We've never argued about money, and we've never argued about stuff like kids or whatever. We always argue about time.
Yeah. Time management.
Time management is what we argue about. And
Yeah.
I have anxiety, so it's that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it.
So, but we've always, because we were having this kind of conversations early on, always, because we've been in so many transitions over the course of a relationship, we've had to talk about these things.
And you still talk about it.
And we still talk about it.
I feel like my husband and I, we talk about finance stuff at least once a week. Like it's just constant. And like, we don't even notice it.
Yeah. You're just kind of like, you're just talking about it all the time. It's almost like second nature.
Yeah. And I feel like, and I keep saying this in other episodes too, where it's like, if you know how to do that, it makes other really difficult conversations so much easier to have.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So before we end this episode, I have a story time. Someone has called into the show. Her name is Sharon. She DM'd me. She said a lot of stuff. And I was like, I think people need to hear this.
Yeah.
So she's here. Let's hear it. Sharon, welcome to Ask a Matchmaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before I say anything, I just want to say, Matchmaker Maria, I know you hear this all the time, but I love you so much. You're just an icon. You're so tall. You're so beautiful. You and your sister are so cute together. I just love you. And also, I did watch the movie Sidekicks and My Girl Growing Up, and they did account for like at least 10% of my personality.
See? You know.
You get it. You get it. All right. So tell us your story time.
Sure. Just a little bit of context. It's about a man who I intended to marry, and that did not work out. And we dated before, and then we dated again, and then it didn't work out ultimately. But I grew up in a household where there's one parent who abandoned everybody, and there's one parent who stayed. And I think it changed how I related to people and the way I was relating to people. I'm just realizing this now, is that I was always trying to convince people to stay. Like that's how my behavior was. That's how my actions was in my relationships. And it affected my friendships, it affected my dating, because I was always focusing on the people who rejected me and then telling myself, okay, this means I'm not a good person. I'm not good enough. And that's why my parent abandoned me, because, you know, if all the people are leaving me, that just means that's something about me as a person. So when I met him online in 2019, right after I graduated from college, he was like the first man I'd ever officially dated. I'd had like weird back and forths and like strange situations with other men thinking that I liked them or they liked me, and then it didn't work out. But he was like my first official boyfriend. And I think because of that, I was just really desperate to make it work. And I think one of the first things he ever said to me when we talked on the phone for the first time, because it was long distance to start with, is that he told me I need to go on a walk because he told me I need to lose some weight. And that should have been like the first moment where I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But instead, I said, hey, I don't appreciate that. And I thought that I could draw a boundary there. And that didn't work. He said, oh, you don't understand. In my culture, that's not an insult. And I'm not going to say what culture it is because I don't want to stigmatize that country just because of one person. But that's something that would come up later. He would make comments about my body. I shaved my head, so he would make comments about that. He's like, if you loved me, you would grow your hair out. At one point, I liked to wear glitter eyeshadow. And he's like, your glitter eyeshadow gets everywhere. Like, you should probably like change it or do something different. He didn't like that I like to wear like really roomy and comfy dresses. He was like, why can't you wear tighter dresses? So we always had comments about how I was as a person. He's like, you're too goofy. You need to be more serious about life. You need to focus on your career more. Because at the time, I think I wanted to be a lot of things, but at the time I wanted to be a preschool
he didn't like
teacher.
your essence.
Right. He did not like me. And I didn't understand that, because at the time I was like, if a man says that he likes you, you need to make it work because you're not getting any younger. You need to make it work. That's not the attitude that I had before I was following your Instagram page. So we finally broke up because I was like, you're really mean. You make me cry all the time. I can't do this anymore. And unfortunately, we didn't get to meet in person the first time because the pandemic happened. And I was like, well, this is not going anywhere. So I'm gonna break up with him. I can't do this anymore. But then I was pining for him for years and checking on his socials because I didn't block him there. And then we got back together again in 2022. And he said, I'm different. I've changed. I'm going to be nicer to you. I understand where I went wrong. We can make this work. And I was like, I've also changed. I follow Matchmaker Maria on Instagram now. You're not going to get anything over on me.
You said that to him?
If this doesn't work out this time. I didn't say it to him, but I said it to myself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say it to him. I was like, if this doesn't work out, I'm done. I'm not going to try to make this work again. And I shouldn't have done it in hindsight. So we started dating. He was really nice for like the first few months, and then I flew to his country to meet him for the first time. Shouldn't have done that. And he proposed out of nowhere with like a ring that was clearly something that he had just gotten last minute, but it was cute. And I said yes because I was like, this is the love of my life. He's my soulmate. I can't stop thinking about him. That means he's the one. And as soon as we got engaged, he went straight back to being mean. There would be days where he would just turn off his phone, and I would not hear from him for days. And I'd be like, are you dead? And then he'd come back and be like, oh, sorry, my phone is broken. Sorry, my brother got sick. Sorry, there was an earthquake or whatever. It's like he would always have an excuse.
Okay. I
And
think
I
know
didn't
what
notice
you-
how
Now I'm like,
often
which
it was
country had an
happening.
earthquake? Got it. Okay. So he's Turkish.
And I didn't notice how often it was happening. Like there was a pattern. It was happening at least once every month because I was kind of going through family things and my job was stressing me out. So I didn't focus on my relationships. I had other things that I needed to worry about. At one point, like I lost my job and I was worried I was going to be homeless. So I didn't have time to worry about how my relationship was going.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of started to end it was when I lost my job and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not know what I'm going to do with my life. Instead of supporting me at that time,
Yeah.
he said that I had messed up my life because the job that I lost was like a really cushy grown-up job with like pension and that other thing with the numbers, 401k or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have
like
I would have
a
said
really
it the
cushy
same
job.
exact way. That thing with the numbers, 401k. Yeah.
Right, that thing with the numbers and the letters.
Yeah.
He's like, you lost that job. Your life's going nowhere. You need to start thinking about your decision and stop messing up your life. And I
I'm
was
sorry.
like,
This person
okay,
lives in a
this is
foreign
interesting.
country.
Yes, he
And
does.
you've met
Yes,
him
he
one
does.
time.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? And unfortunately, he was still in college when we met, but I had graduated. And I was like, well, I love you, so I want to help you. So at one point, I did pay for a little bit of his college and a little bit of his rent because he was having hard times during the pandemic. And I was like, well, if I love you, I want you to succeed. Should not have done that, but I did. When I did
When
it,
does this
'cause he
story
was like,
get
"Why?"
positive?
It gets positive at the end, I promise.
Okay.
But I paid for his rent. At one point, I paid for his college because like I want to make this work. And then when he said that to me, that I've messed up my life, I realized that I was putting financial support into this relationship. I was putting emotional support. Whenever he was upset, he would call me about stuff. But when I needed him, he was not there. So not only was he not adding anything to my life, he was actively subtracting from it. He was making me feel bad about myself. Well, not making me, because no one can make you do that. But he wasn't bringing anything to my life. He was making it worse. And then that was the time when he decided to stop talking to me for 13 days. And I was like, I don't think if I need to do all this to get a man, even though I knew there was something in me that said I need to get a man at all costs. Like that's how I was living my life. I was like, if I have to do all this to get a man, it's not worth it. I can't do it anymore. So I went to Home Depot. I got some paint. I painted my bathroom pink and I painted my room purple because I was like, I think I want to live a different life. I think I want to try to lean more into being perhaps a main character of a movie and not the sad side character who just takes whatever because she doesn't matter. I think I want to be more in charge of my life. I'm going to start by painting my room. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. We got to go. And as soon as I told him that, he started being so nice to me and like trying to
Well, yeah,
give
the
me the
sugar
support they
mama's
should have been doing
leaving.
before. Right? And I was like, sorry, your time's up. I can't. I'm too old. I can't do this. And the minute I decided that was the end, I got like 25% like cuter. So clearly that was a sign. And ever since then, I'm not even kidding. Ever since then, my life has gotten so much better. And I don't want to say that one person can ruin your whole life, but I was stuck in a job that I didn't want. I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. I was trying to be all serious and like wear gray slacks from Macy's. And I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
So I went
No
back to
gray
being
slacks for
myself.
Macy's.
I know exactly the ones you're talking
Nothing
about. I think
against
I had a
those.
pair.
Wide-legged.
Yeah.
With the
Nothing
thing you
against
got to
those, but they're
iron.
not-
The thing, yeah, with the line
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the thing.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Right. And then I changed the job. I got a different job. I love it so much. Everyone is so nice. And then I started reevaluating my friendships and realizing that the way I was giving too much in my relationship was the same thing I was doing in my friendships. So unfortunately, a couple of my friendships fell apart, but that's okay because they weren't that great. And I went on a couple of dates. They were really nice people to go on dates with. It was super fun. I just had fun being a girl and just flirting and just living my best life. And I didn't realize how much energy I was taking in my mind to get picked until I stopped doing it. And I just want to say, Matchmaker Maria, if it was not for you, I would have been staying in that relationship for way longer than I should have, which I already did. Because I remember you said something about if you're in a long distance relationship, I'm probably going to mess it up. And there's no plans to reunite within like a year and a half, something like that. Is that what you say?
Yeah. You also have to be
And then
able
it's
to
not going
afford
anywhere.
it. Sounds like he couldn't afford a long distance relationship if he
He
never came to
could not.
see you.
He could not. So we were going back and forth for 4 years of my life. And I saw that post and I was like, well, maybe she's wrong. Maybe she doesn't know everything. And then
I'm
later I
never
realized,
wrong.
no, she was right. She was right.
Sometimes I'm
and I
wrong,
should have
but not for
listened
this.
to her. No, for that you were right.
Yeah.
And my life is just so much different, and I don't feel that stress of like I need to find a man at all costs.
You don't need to find
And
it. You get to be single. Single's a privilege.
It is so much fun.
It's
It is
so
so
much fun.
much fun. You get to like leave work and go home and go straight to bed with some pasta. It's so much fun. Anyway, I just want to say thank you.
Cheers.
For
And
doing
no
what
to
you
gray
do.
slacks.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for calling in. I really like that story time. That was cute.
That was
If you're in a relationship with someone though for like 4 years and you've only met once, please break up. Like right now. I don't care what's happening.
Right?
No.
I want to
Like
say
absolutely not.
I want to say, it's very interesting to me that he would go days without talking to you or come up with an excuse because the person that's right for you will talk to you every day, even if it's a text.
Right.
We're on our phones all day. We're on our phones.
My phone is broken. If my
our
phone
phones
broke,
are in the bathroom. No, your phone's not broke because then your phone is connected to your laptop. Okay. And
if my phone is broken, the next Uber ride is to the Apple store.
Even if it's not,
I
you
can't
get
live
on
without
your
it.
laptop, and then if he has an iPhone, it's connected to
What
your
country is he
iMessages
from?
and your WhatsApp.
Was I right?
I can't tell you.
Come on.
I don't want to be mean
No, it's
on
fine.
a
It's
podcast
fine.
that lots of people listen to.
I'm just saying, I love the story because it sounds like you came to, you know what your worth is and that you are worthy and you understand that you're worthy because you're totally worthy.
Totally worthy. And I'm so happy that you gained something from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, life is crazy and sometimes these types of relationships that we are in, you learn from them and you learn now now you know going forward.
No more long distance for you.
I'm not accepting, well, not just long distance. Well, you can not just long distance, but a massive long distance. But now I know that if it's a few days go by, there's an issue. And I need to be spoken to on a daily basis, and all the things that you're not going to accept going forward. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling. Chrisoula, you have a private Instagram, so it can't be like, everyone go follow Chrisoula.
Yeah.
But we do run Agape Intensive together.
Yeah, come on over and sign up, okay?
Yeah.
I'll be there too.
In the show notes, if you want to hang out with get more Chrisoula and Maria love, in the show notes, there's a link to Agape Intensive. We have our virtual, usually happens about twice a month.
Twice a month.
And then we have another in-person to be announced. Maybe it's announced by the time this episode comes out.
Yep. In Mexico.
In Mexico in November.
Yep.
So, hopefully we'll see you either virtually or in person. And the coolest part about Intensive is that once you graduate, you get access to the community.
Yeah, the community is the most amazing community. So I just love it.
Yeah,
And,
the community is of all of our graduates. It's a great network. They're incredible. Chrisoula, thank you again for joining me on Ask a Matchmaker.
Thanks. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how I did, but I hope it was good.
I think you did great. If you loved her, show the love in the comments on YouTube. We want to see it.
Thanks.
Thank you again for
Still
coming.
sweating.
Still
But,
sweating.
yeah.
And thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you for listening to Ask a Matchmaker. Again, go to the show notes, hit those links, go to YouTube, comment, like, subscribe. Help me with those algorithm gods, please. And of course, tell a friend, tell your sibling. You could be like, look at what Chrisoula and Maria have. I want that too. Let's manifest it. Share this with your family.
Yeah, share. Sharing is caring.
Yeah. Thanks again. Be lovable. More importantly, be likable. See you next week.